We need a budget that is in the interest of the working class. We've had decades.
I think it's a disgusting policy. She's using the fact that she's a Muslim woman to say that she's going to attack other migrants and ethnic minorities, and it's completely disgusting policy. People shouldn't have to live here for 20 years before they have safe, secure livelihoods here, and they shouldn't be treated as somehow they're second-class citizens. They should be welcome here. This country would not manage without the immigrants and descendants of immigrants who play such a vital role in our economy. And Shabana Mahmood and Keir Starmer need to understand that.
Rid of any rights for workers. We are presiding over a country where the NHS is getting worse, where education is getting worse.
It's the wrong agenda to increase spending on GDP up from 2.5% to 3% to 5% just because.
The problem we've got really is the budget tomorrow is not going to answer problems for ordinary people. It's not going to deliver better housing, it's not going to deliver better public services. And the far right in Britain at the minute are trying to say that the problems that exist are to do with migration, to do with refugees. They're not to do with the fact that really the rich are paying their way in Britain. And the problem we've got is the government is echoing that, right, and stuff. So instead of standing up to that, they're saying the same thing. They're saying that they're going to crack down on refugees, crack down on people coming over to Britain as migrant workers and the rest of it, talking about people being illegal when they are actually escaping war and oppression in their own countries and stuff, really. And so we think that the problem with the budget is it's not going to answer the questions that people have got, how their lives are going to get better. And the problem is that the government is encouraging Reform UK and the far right, the likes of Tommy Robinson and people, because it's legitimising their argument.
Change, to end the poverty we have in this country and to really rebuild our public services. That is how you drive prosperity, and that's how you have a sustainable economy, and that's how we have a future that we can all look forward to.
Last week, Shabana Mahmood and Keir Starmer started a war, or a next stage of a war, against people seeking asylum in Britain. What they've done now is torn up any international legislation or responsibility for refugees, and what they're saying is that refugees, those seeking asylum, are to blame for the problems in this society. In other words, they're chiming in with what Nigel Farage and Reform and what the far right on the streets around Tommy Robinson and others are saying.
Say nurses, not nukes. The government should be spending money on saving lives, not destroying them. They're trying to say that we need to be spending hundreds of billions on nuclear weapons, that nuclear weapons keep us safe. That's complete rubbish. They could destroy the entire planet, and they put us at risk every single day. Yeah, the money needs to be going on health, education, and tackling climate change. These are the real threats that we face, from flooding, wildfires, from social deprivation. This is what we need to be tackling. So the money should be going there, not on weapons of war.
We're going to spend money on bombs. We want it spent on children's books. We want it spent on the school estate. We want it spent on alleviating the crushing burden.
Disabled people are not to blame for the cost of living crisis. We are not to blame for austerity. We need funding for the NHS. We need funding for all of our services, not just for patients for me today, but for all the patients who come through the cancer services of tomorrow.